welcome to today's pop-up episode of the Road to Imaging USA. We just have so many remarkable speakers that we couldn't fit them all into our lineup. So we don't want to leave anyone out, especially this amazing woman, Alicia Haskett. Alicia is one of our speakers. She's going to be a workshop instructor on Saturday for a boudoir class. And I'm so excited to share her with you today. Alicia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This is going to be a lot of fun. I do want to thank the sponsor of the Boudoir album, who is sponsoring this program. They are just a remarkable company. We've enjoyed working with them, just getting to know them. And obviously, they love you and you love them. And we're going to talk more about them in just a minute. But first, I want to just kind of jump in, Alicia, and hear more about you. You and I have talked offline,
Yes.
and I've gotten to hear your story, and I'm very excited to share that with everyone else. But tell us just first a little bit about you.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Olesha Haskett, and I am a Baltimore native. My role and one thing that I love to do is be a Renaissance woman. So I cultivate soft spaces for Black women to just show up as they are in their sensuality, and I give them those spaces. And then I also create spaces for Black boudoir photographers to be speakers, to work together, because we believe in a big thing that something for us is you want to work together because everyone needs to get to that exact same place instead of just one at a time. So I try to work on collaboration over competition.
I love that. I love that. I love that a rising tide raises all ships, right? I mean, that's how we get there. Well, tell me a little bit about your story, and how you became a photographer. And I'm assuming, this has been your heart, but how has this kind of evolved for you as a profession?
Whew. So I actually have a degree in photography. I graduated in 2007. I'm not going to say my age, but I graduated in 2007 with a degree in photography. And I started out with weddings. And for me, the biggest thing was when that woman saw herself and she was surrounded by her family and her friends who loved her and who wanted her to know that they were here to support her. And I wanted that to be something that everyone had. I feel like when women decide to do photography, it's usually around their families, graduation, or some monumentous occasion. It's never just like for them. And so I really wanted to provide that space. And then in 2017, I went through my own reinvention and I wanted to figure out like who I was as a Black woman. What does that look like for me in this new transition? And I really didn't have anyone to go through that process with. And I realized that as a photographer, I could capture that. I could go in and say, this is my personal project to understand myself and do that through boudoir. And so I did that. And it was an undertaking, I'm not gonna lie. It was different, especially learning to love my body and what does that look like for me as a Black woman when I know society says something different. And so that is what I wanted to bring as well to my work and say, I am creating a space for you to come as you are. And as you are is enough. Like you don't have to earn love. You don't have to earn the space to say, am I enough? Yes, you are enough just showing up as yourself. And I wanted that to be a mind body connection that I realized a lot of my clients were missing because a lot of my clients are 40 and up. And so they are learning to love their bodies as they are now. And that was something that I just really wanted to hone in on. Like, how are you showing up for yourself? You're showing up for your family, you're showing up for your job. A lot of my clients are caregivers now. And so you don't have time for yourself. And I wanted them to understand that you don't have to feel guilty for taking time for you. I always tell people you are your longest and most expensive relationship. So any money or time that you really spend on yourself is never wasted because if you are becoming your favorite version of yourself, like that is enough. That is all you have to do.
You just said like about 12 mouthfuls. Yay to all of that. I love the longest, most expensive relationship you have is with yourself.
Yeah.
I love that. And you're right. I mean, on just so many levels. I want to marry, like I feel like when I talk to you, I get so excited because it's more than just photography.
Yes. Of
It
course.
is. It's like the conversations that you have with people. It's the connections that you make with people. And Um, this audience has heard me say a few times, I love Vivek Murthy. He is our US Surgeon General, but he talks about loneliness as an epidemic in our world. And I feel like what you do also supports just honoring people and relationships and in this moment where they are in their lives today, right?
Yes.
Sandwich generation of being caretakers and then also being moms. And so just thank you for all of that. Um,
Thank you.
in that, because I think this is part of the story, like boudoir has had a really interesting resurgence. It's not the boudoir of even
No,
10 years ago. Like tell me in your words, like what you see that change as.
I think a lot of it is women are taking control, especially of the narrative of what that looks like. Because when I started, like even at weddings, the majority of the photographers that I interacted with were male photographers. And it was always like my dad was my second shooter, but they would always go to him. It was my business, but they would go to him to have conversations and say, or ask me questions about if I know what I'm doing. And it was just like, yeah, like I do. I probably know better than you, but okay. And so what I see is a change in women saying, I am enough and I can take control of the narrative of what my version of sexy and sensual is. And that is something that a lot of times, specifically for Black women, we have not been able to do that because body autonomy is definitely something new to us. Like historically, it's very new to us. And so I think that that also comes into play with the whole of how are you showing up? How do you feel about your body? Like, do you see your body as beautiful or are I don't like to say flaws. It's what are you learning to love about your body, which is something that all women have challenges with. Like, how do you show up? How do you love yourself? How do you not talk down to yourself? And I feel like we're moving more from the male gaze when it comes to boudoir, because before it was like, be sexy for your husband, for this person, this imaginary person. Or I would have people say, I can't do it because I don't have anyone to gift it to. So the narrative change, well, this is for you. Like this is a gift you give to yourself. And if you have someone, it's a gift for them too, but the session, the experience is for you first. And then you get to offer that to someone else if you want, but you don't have to do that if that's not something that you want to do.
Yeah, I love two things that you talked about in there that I wanted to touch on. What do you mean when you say body autonomy?
So historically, when you look at the context of talking about Black people, especially Black women,
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe in the last 50, 60, 70 years, our bodies didn't belong to us. Like your body belonged to the person who owned you, if you were a sharecropper, if you were an enslaved person. So there could be anything that could be done to you, and you had no recourse. Like you could not do anything with that. And so in that space, it's now I need to come up with this mind, body, and spirit connection that I didn't have before. And if my parents, especially my mom, was not taught that, for the women I deal with, it's
Right.
how can I go about creating this for myself. And then from there, creating it for the next generation,
Yeah.
especially for mothers, like mothers just
Yeah.
overall for
Yeah.
anybody. I always tell my moms, like, when you are thinking about, especially your daughters, and you want them to see you as a full human being, they can't do that if you don't show up as yourself, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you don't put your images up. I always have clients, I can't put my picture up. Like
Yeah.
my butt is out, my breasts are out. And I'm like, but your children need to see you as a woman. Like it's not just mommy. They need to see you as a full realized woman. And what does that look like? Because your children need to see how to take care of a woman properly, but also how you take care of yourself.
That's so powerful, Alicia.
Thank you.
That's so powerful. Wow. Thank you. Like, thank you for sharing all that. I knew from our previous conversations how much I love your heart, and I'm so excited for this class, and I'm so excited for what you're bringing for people to learn. Because the other thing that you said was session experience. This
Yes.
isn't just about the photographs. I mean, your photographs are beautiful, but it's more than that, right?
Yes.
I mean, you just talked about a piece of it, but the people coming to your workshops, they're gonna like, I feel like there's a language, right? There's a way that you're talking to people and approaching, right? Isn't that a piece of it?
Yes. Because I feel like this should be a conversation. My past, I was an educator. I've been in elementary education, and so a major part of this is how do I connect with you on a level that is based on your understanding? Because I know my lived experiences as a Black woman, but it's also how do I get across to you in a language that you are comfortable with, you understand, but also not denying who I am as a person. And so that level needs to be addressed because there are some conversations that can be uncomfortable. There are some things that will be uncomfortable with what I'm going to say. But as we move into this new level of understanding, it needs to be, are you open to hearing this? So I can give it to you, I can say it to you, we can have this conversation, but the work still has to be done, whether you are there or not. I want you to be here and with me, but
Yeah.
it still is a conversation. It's not just me talking to you or talking down to you. It's how do we put this into your business, into your personal life, so you can feel like I'm a part of this conversation and not just like a bystander looking in.
Do you find that the people that are coming to you are prepared, or do you feel like there's a lot of preparation that goes into building that relationship and that conversation?
I think it depends on where people are coming from, honestly. Like if they are in community with a diverse group of people, then usually they're more open to hearing the conversation. If they are not open because they're not used to being with a diverse group of people, a lot of it is past experiences, things they've been taught. And if you don't have that diverse group, it's like, well, this is what I know to be true because this is what I have been taught. And
Yeah.
so you kind of have to deconstruct that thought process of just saying, I'm going to be open to hear what you have to say and then look at what I know and see if those things match up.
I love that. And what I love more than anything is it just opens dialogue.
Yes.
It's just, it's conversation, it's care. It's you're caring for people in a way that is, I'm sure for some people might even be a little bit scary.
Yeah,
Maybe
of
not
course.
is scary the right word?
It can be.
Yeah,
It can
yeah.
be.
It's
Definitely
hard to be, what's the word? Vulnerable. I feel like this is a really vulnerable, but it's good. Like I think we all need to open ourselves up to vulnerability. But yeah, I love all of that so very much. Can I jump topics just slightly because I do want to thank the Boudoir album so much for sponsoring this class. And I know that you love them as a company and you love them as their products. Can you just talk a little bit about them?
I I love them because, like we were just talking about conversation.
Yes.
I love that I can come to them and say, "Hey, with this idea, what do you think about this?" And they're like, "Emily, I love Emily. Shout out to Emily.
Yeah.
Um, it's
Hi,
just
Emily.
Emily's just like, yeah, just write me a quick email, tell me what you need, and then I can see if we have it. If not, I can figure it out. And I appreciate that because one of the things that I really love to work with when it comes to working with sponsorship or different businesses is I want to create a relationship. Like I don't want this to just be a one and done type of thing because
Yeah.
I'm big on building community relationships. Because even if I don't have something, I know I probably know someone who is able to give you what you need. And so I appreciate that they were open and willing to continue a relationship that started last year. Oh yeah, last year I was like, this is 2024 now. Last year, the time has gone by so fast. So I appreciate that because that has not always been the case. But I love that they're willing to listen and be open and say, okay, maybe we don't know what that is like, but if you're willing to help us with that, then we're willing to listen.
Yeah, everything I've learned about them and getting to know Emily, she's amazing. Just how much they care. And they
Yes,
care about this segment of photographers and really servicing this group well. And they're very concerned with privacy and like they make sure all that they're very well rounded in every aspect, right? And
yes.
so we've really enjoyed working with them as well. We have a couple of questions coming in from our audience. Do you have any advice for an aspiring boudoir photographer?
I think the biggest thing that I always think about is what is your why? I think that's something that people sometimes get away from. I tell when I mentor people, you are not providing a photography experience. Like it's more than that. But you have to understand for you, why are you doing this? And
Yeah.
then from there, it's much easier to get that across to your clients. I always say, like, Apple doesn't sell computers or phones, they sell an experience. And that experience is what people are looking for because they want to be a part of something. They want to be in the in crowd. Like they have FOMO. So they want to be able to say, I did this and this is what it was like. Like you really have to cultivate
Yeah.
what does it look like from beginning to end and how do you want your clients to feel. And in that space, that's how you build out as a boudoir photographer, like this is what I want. But also have your own boudoir experience. I tell people that all the time. Like you have to be in front of the camera to understand how it truly feels to, if you're not naked, but if you're coming in and like wearing lingerie, how does it feel, those nerves? And that way you can describe it to your client. Like, I
Mhm.
know this is what it feels like. I've done it myself. And then share those images. That has always gone far for me, is just sharing my own experience as in front of the camera and behind the camera.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Um, I've got another question that just came up. How do you gently encourage women to see boudoir from this more embodied perspective? Do you have any touch points that are really consistent in how you do that?
The biggest thing, as I said, is you have to show up. Like you have to show up and you have to be vulnerable yourself. For me, that was a major thing, like getting over that hump and jumping on the other side of fear of sharing my story, sharing myself,
Mhm.
sharing my body in that space too, what I was comfortable with. And I think that's something that you really have to come from is your clients want to know who you are. Like they're not coming to you as just, I looked at a website and I saw this person. It's who are you?
Mm.
What are your values? That's a big thing for me. Like I won't work with people if I
Mhm.
don't feel like our values are connecting. I'm all up and down their social media feed trying to see who they are as a person because that's important to me as a photographer, but as a person as
Interesting.
well.
Yeah.
So I think once you get, as I said, that why, and you start to say, this is what this means to me. If I am in my space, if I am loving my body and giving words to that feeling, I think that's the biggest thing, especially for women. They just want to know that it's okay to show up as themselves, like without anything else, just to show up and be enough. And so I think if you start to do that, if you start to go live, if you start to post images of yourself, and unretouched, like not retouched. That's the biggest thing. They do. They want to see that. Those are the ones that get the most
Yeah.
shares. Is when I'm just like, this is my body. Like you
Yeah.
see my rolls, you see how I'm showing up, and I just post about it and what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And that for a lot of women is their message to themselves, like I can do this. Like even if I'm not doing it on a larger scale on social media, I can do this in my own space and still feel comfortable enough to say I'm showing up for myself. So I say just show up for them. And then
Yeah.
as they start to get to know you, they start to trust you. That's an experience that you can cultivate even more. And then get them on that email list, of course, and start talking about that and allowing them to say, you're a part of my community. So I want you to show up like I'm showing up.
That having your own experience is such a testament to the vulnerability you're requesting of them, right?
Yes.
Like you have to almost mirror that. And
Yes.
I think what I also hear you saying is that it takes some practice.
It does.
It's not like you can just do it once and then you're like, okay, I got it.
It takes a lot. And it's, you know what? And it also takes bravery because you have to be
Yeah.
brave enough. If you are putting yourself out and saying, I want you to come to me, your clients have to see that bravery, that courage in yourself. Because if you are requesting from them, hey, show up, it's like, okay, it's just not equal. So you have to also do that. You have to be
Yeah.
that face, that force to say, this is how I'm showing up. I'm giving you permission to do the same. That I think that's a big thing. A lot of people are waiting for permission to do exactly what you want them to do.
I love it. I'm so excited for this class. For those of you who haven't looked up the class yet, it's real talk, things your Black clients want to know. And what's fun about this is there's two parts to it. So there's the lecture portion, and then there's also going to be the photography portion. So we're going to have 4 shooting bays. We're going to have models. Um, fun lighting gear that you guys are going to get to play with. Lots of interaction, and so you'll be able to photograph right alongside Alicia. She'll be able to look at your images and help you. And yeah, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you go to imagingusa.com. I think we might be able to put the link in there, but you can see the times for the class. It's a full day workshop on Saturday. So it's a pre-con. Come early. It's going to be a great time. You'll get to meet Alicia. And yeah, we're excited. Not much longer. I think they said today 17 days left before before the show starts. So we're on the final countdown. Alicia, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so happy to know you. I am so excited to see you in real life. Not much longer now.
I am excited for this. I know it's going to be amazing. And I'm excited to get to meet the other women as well. So I know them on virtual space, but in person, I'm excited to meet them.
Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be so good. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining our little road to imaging today. We appreciate you so much. And we can't wait to see you at Imaging USA.